Today's mod is for the Lee Perfect Powder Measure. I wanted to make a handle for making a more positive throw. I mean, I like that Lee Perfect Powder Measure. It throws an accurate load, and it's cheap. Well, relative to all the other powder throwers, it is very cheap. So here we go. We're going to start with I guess you need a piece of PVC. I used a 1/2 inch because got a lot lying around. We're going to have to take a measurement of your handle because we're going to have to drill holes for these. Actually came out to, I think, 1.43 inches. Doesn't have to be exact, but the more precise you are, the better the end product's going to be. So once we got that 1.43 inches, we're going to transfer it to the PVC. Just drawing a little reference line on there. I'm going to start with maybe a good inch from the top, I guess, and lay out the 2 marks. About 1 inch from the top is the first one, and 1.43 inches away, I'm going to make another mark on that reference line. Next, we're going to have to drill out the holes. So actually, next we have to find out what size hole. So we're going to measure that little extrusion on that handle and select out a bit. I think it came out to 5/16. 5/16. So we set that 5/16 bit aside for now. Just took, I'm not even sure what size, probably about 3/32 or somewhere around there. It's just for a pilot hole, make the drilling later easier. I'm going to drill through the 2 marks we made. One about 1 inch from the top, and the other 1.43 inches from that from the first hole. And we're going to drill straight through on both of them. Be good if you could drill, directly straight through, like on the drill press, and just too lazy to go chuck it in the drill press. So next we're gonna drill the 5/16 hole. This is on the topmost hole, it's 5/16. So I'm gonna drill that one all the way through. Once we got that 5/16 hole drilled all the way through, we're going to have to open up one of those 2 holes. So I'm going to always leave one of them at 5/16, and the opposite one we're going to open up as much as we can. So it's about a 1/2 inch pipe, so we're going to take it up close to 1/2 inch. Just using a step drill, much easier. Although this is not necessary, I just wanted to lighten up as much as possible that end of the handle. I mean, the Lee Perfect Powder Measure is really good. I mean, it's only $30 and it throws a good powder, and the nearest sub you can find for that would be at least double the price. So, but it's made out of plastic, thin metal. So we want to keep the static weight of the handle down as much as possible. So I'm using the PVC and trying to lighten up whatever we can here. Again, this part is not necessary. I mean, you're fine with the 2 5/16 holes. It's just, again, just trying to lighten up the static weight. You don't want to take off too much, as you want to leave some strength though. So I'm just going to trim off the excess here, leaving maybe about a 1/4 inch from my 5/16 hole. Just using some tin snips to clip away at it, but you can use any wire cutters, or you can probably cut it off with a wheel, or use some sandpaper. And actually, I cleaned it up with a disc sander a little later. Just rounded the edges, but for now, that should do. Okay, one hole is done. Now we got to work on the next part. We're gonna have to disassemble your handle from your perfect powder measurer. I thought this was screwed on, but it looks like it's riveted. So there goes the idea of just unscrewing that handle. We're just gonna have to end up punching it out. It's very thin sheet metal. I mean, you can drill it out, but it's just a lot of work drilling it out. So just gonna chuck it in the vise and hit it with the punch. I mean, it's very thin sheet metal. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, it wasn't very difficult. It's just when you punch out a rivet on that thin sheet metal, it's gonna bend the metal a little bit, but it's not a big problem. Just give it a couple of squeezes in the vise, and it's back to new. So we're all good now. Alright, the next thing is we're going to have to find some screws and nuts. I picked up some screws from the hardware store. I think I got 8/32 by 1 3/4 and 8/32 by 2 inches. Didn't really bother to measure. I just might have had these screws from a long time ago, but you can use 6/32, 8/32, 10/32, 10/24, whatever you can find. I mean, as long as it fits in that hole in the handle, so you don't have to drill out the handle and make extra work. That's an 8/32 screw or bolt, and it was 1 3/4 long. So next you reassemble your handle there. Everything's good to go. Install your 8/32 or whatever screw you got, by 8/32 by 1 3/4 inches. I'm gonna screw a nut on there to secure it onto the handle. I'm gonna test fit our little PVC handle. That 5/16 hole goes right on the extrusion, and the other hole goes on your bolt there. You're gonna need another screw there for to adjust the spacing. That way you keep your PVC handle parallel with the stock handle. Just tighten down that first bolt to the handle there. Now we commence adjusting that second nut so it's parallel with your thrower. You don't have to be exact, just get it kind of close for now. And here's where you should, if you made a perfectly straight hole, with 2 holes would be nice. I was a little crooked, so luckily it's just PVC. Just run the drill bit in there and we'll straighten it out, no problem. Again, all the holes don't have to be precise. So you got just a little oval hole now, but at least the handle is straight. Just gonna secure it with another nut here. Get a feel for how the handle's gonna feel. It was just a scrap piece of PVC, so we haven't decided what the overall length was going to be. So this is where you're going to kind of figure out how long you want it to be. The longer you can make the handle, the more leverage and probably the smoother the throw would be. But I'm going to go with about 6 inches to start. That's the maximum length I can have, to give clearance for everything else on the bench. I mean, the scale's right in front of there, so we don't want to be knocking into the scale every time we throw a load. So about 6 inches. Again, you can adjust it at any time. I'm just kind of figuring this is about the maximum I can have here. Okay, decided to cut it just a little bit. I mean, 6 inches is the maximum, but not necessarily has to be that long. So ended up going at 5 1/4 inches. Now you don't have to glue the end cap on. I chose to do so. Just a little bit of Christie's on there. I'll take care of that end cap. Next part, I'm going to fill it with some lead shot. I mean, I had some lead shot lying around, so you can use whatever you want. You can use sand or BBs or lead pellets or whatever you have lying around. I think I had some old cruddy lead shot, so that's going to go in the tube now. That's going to add the weight to the end of the handle. Funnel seems to work. Kind of slow. I will just hand funnel it. Adjust the weight to whatever you feel necessary, whatever feels good to you. Give you a good positive throw. I ended up just filling it auto pretty much to about 1/2 inch to my hole there. So we max it out. But you can add whatever you want in there. Get the weight set. Then just reinstall everything. Get a feel for how that handle is going to be. Oh, I filled it with hot glue on the top to keep the lead shot down there. You can stuff it with whatever you want. Piece of wad. I mean, if you use some wad in there, at least you can be able to pull the wad out and adjust the weight. I didn't think I was going to adjust it, so I just dropped some hot glue on top. But in retrospect, maybe I should have put a piece of wad in there. All I did was go and paint it. Took about 20 minutes for the paint to dry. I loaded some, I think I processed some brass there while I was waiting. Got it reinstalled now. Only thing left is to give it a test. Quite happy with the way it turned out. Feels really good. Got a real positive throw every time you move it up and down now. Maybe this is not the best powder to try it on, but I'm going to be loading that next. It feels pretty good. I mean, you could have made it with a steel handle or aluminum or fiberglass, but the idea was to keep the static weight down and put as much weight at the end as possible. So the PVC pipe really worked out really well. And actually, in the beginning, I thought maybe just a longer handle for more leverage would have been better, but the lead weight at the end really made it feel good. Real positive throw. Well, that should do for this video. I'm going to go load up some rounds after this and give it a good test. Hopefully it still throws as accurate as it did before I messed with it. But here's a mod for the Lee Perfect Powder Measurer.